Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the
GEEK
Buddies.
Hey! It's never quite the same without that little nugget with us.
That's true. That's true. Well, I say happy Friday because that's when we're recording this thing, but it will be put out over the weekend, and we're excited to be diving into so much.
Whoa. Happy Saturday!
Yeah, happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you have a good weekend. But we are here to dive into a bunch of stuff going on in the world of entertainment, talk some DC news, some James Bond news, Avatar news, getting into some Pirates Caribbean news. We're going to talk Marvel Zombies. A lot of you have been burning up our social media, asking us to talk about Marvel Zombies. And we're going to spoiler review the most recent episode of Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 7. Sadly, we do not have Shannon McClung joining us for this show because of work and the demands there for Halloween Horror Nights. But we are here to handle the fort, or hold down the fort, rather. And I am John Rocha, writer, producer, host here on the Geek Buddies.
I am Michael Vogel, writer and producer of animated TV shows and video games, and I've handled a few forts in my time.
Hello. But the way the show works, for those who might be stumbling upon us as new viewers, is we bring up geek news items, we talk about them, and then lead to a big item. And our big item, of course, is going to be our spoiler review of Peacemaker. There's going to be a lot to talk about, but we're going to start the show with a bit of a roundup. You guys know how I like to do things here on the Rocha Roundup. Rapid fire. Here we go. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump into his brother. Tobias Menzies is apparently being circled to play a character in the upcoming Batman Part 2. And I know you mentioned Tommy Elliott, but it is, according to this hip-hop films, they are saying, sources are telling them that it's to play the role of Amadeus Arkham in the upcoming Batman Part 2. Plot details, of course, being kept under wraps. What is being described as a much more, quote, cerebral and macabre installment of the Batman universe. They also hear that Luke Roberts and Stella Stalker will be returning as Thomas and Martha Wayne. So, Michael, we've seen Tobias Menzies in a lot of different projects over the years. I remember him from Rome, and then, of course, numerous things since then, like James Bond and what have you. So I like this guy. He's a really strong actor, quiet, subtle actor. So do you like him as someone they're looking at? Does it tell you the kind of people they want to attract for a film like this as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, already knowing the first movie, they were attracting a certain caliber of talent, and I think that's going to continue into this movie. Amadeus Arkham is interesting. Yeah, I was texting, all right, when I hear anybody's like playing a major role in Batman Part 2, I'm like, it's Tommy Elliott. It's Tommy Elliott. Amadeus Arkham is interesting because one of the big departures that Matt Reeves took in the Batman is in the backstory of Thomas and Martha Wayne, and really fleshing that out in that Thomas Wayne was running for office. There was a bunch of stuff where Martha Wayne was having some psychological issues and had been, I believe, in Arkham for a bit. And somebody published a newspaper reporter was going to reveal that info. And because Thomas Wayne had helped Carmine Falcone back in the day, he asked him for assistance, and like that caused that whole thing where Falcone killed somebody, and did Thomas Wayne order him to? But the important part here is Martha Wayne was a little crazy at some point in her life and spent some time at Arkham. So knowing that they're going to reprise their roles, knowing that we might have an Amadeus Arkham, like, it's going to be interesting, because usually we basically just think of Arkham as a giant revolving door for all of our favorite supervillains to get put in and escape from. And even seeing other versions of Arkham, Arkham's never a place you would like to put somebody. But seeing an Arkham where Thomas Wayne would have had Martha Wayne spend some time, and what that Arkham is, it's going to be interesting. It's a little bit different in keeping with what Matt Reeves has done in the past. It's probably going to, at least for the beginnings, be a bit more of a grounded Arkham, a more not complete insane asylum that we get in the comics. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, it's kind of like Amazing Spider-Man, right? They messed around with the background of the Parkers to make Peter's situation be a little more, how can I say, a little more dramatic, so to speak. And there was rumors that they were going to have them still be alive, and he was going to discover his parents were still alive. So what does that all mean? So there was a lot they were still going to explore with that. So you have similarities in how the Batman did it with the Waynes. And I like that because, Mike, you and I have read Batman. We know that they mess with the Wayne mythology all the time in all the different runs of the comic books. And go into that line of they were these rich people, but who were their friends? Were they as noble as we were led to believe initially? There's all these things happening around the Waynes all the time. And so there were some hints of stuff that was added, as you mentioned, in the Batman. So the idea that you're going to go back and bring in Amadeus Arkham into this, who is, of course, he is best known as the founder of Arkham Asylum. He was introduced in the 1970s. He's often depicted as a brilliant but deeply troubled doctor whose tragic family history and descent into madness mirror the very darkness he sought to contain. So this is a very nuanced character with a lot of levels and complexity. So you want to bring in an actor like this who's going to convey that and kind of radiate that upper crust kind of energy as well as he does in that show Outlander, and he's done in Game of Thrones and as Prince Philip in The Crown. So I think it's a smart move. And going back to like the beginnings of Arkham is an interesting thing to explore in the Batman Part 2 as well.
Well, and it underscores what Matt Reeves has already said, which is for him, this is a continuation of really kind of breaking down Bruce Wayne and the Bruce Wayne side of Batman, that he doesn't want this to just turn into a let's have a bunch of villains running around and Robert Pattinson chases them, that whatever this story is, which is very Tommy Elliott potential, Court of Owls. I think the as you were saying, the elite of Gotham, and the privilege of the elite of Gotham probably has a lot to do with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays into it.
Yeah, and certainly we are exploring a lot of the privilege and the elite in our regular world. So why not make it topical as a great artist?
Why not make it topical?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's move on to this situation. Let's jump over into the world of Avatar, Michael. James Cameron has been doing the rounds here, answering questions, being interviewed, and he was talking to Variety here, and he explained that he went back and added scenes to the movie of Jake reuniting with his Turek from the first movie that ended up having a big impact. He also said that the big swing in all of this is, do we make any money with Avatar 3? I mean, we'll make some money, but the question is, what kind of a profit margin, if any, is there? And how much of an inducement is that to continue on in this universe? Or maybe we wait a while until we figure out how to bring costs down. He's essentially implying that there's an argument in wild success for us just launching, going straight into Avatar 4 and 5. And I figured out a production methodology where I have a bit of hiatus where I can make another film. So it's interesting. He's playing all sides of this situation here, Michael, and saying, well, if that does well, then we could do 4 and 5. It's not guaranteed. But then again, it might take a break. So it's an interesting game he's playing now. Do you think James maybe is a little tired of being in the world of Avatar and wants to kind of spread his wings in other places and is laying the groundwork for it?
I mean, James Cameron doesn't have to lay any groundwork to anybody to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. So I don't think he's laying ground. I mean, there have been rumors that he has his eye on another Terminator movie. That's been kind of out there in the ether, that there's all right, he got a little taste of it doing, what was it? Salvation? Was that the one he did? What was the last one?
Yeah, Terminator Salvation. Yeah.
Maybe he wants to do his final mark on Terminator before he dives in. James Cameron saying, I wonder if Avatar 3 is going to make any money is like Taylor Swift saying, I hope somebody listens to my album. like James, and not even with the Avatar movies, but James Cameron, more than any other director in history, is pretty much a sure thing.
Yeah.
Like any movie that he's made has been a hit. And despite half of y'all thinking Avatar is dumb, thinking you're not into it, like you don't love it. Shannon McClung goes, it was the best nap I ever took in my life. I love these movies. So I hope we get a 4 and 5. I do like what he said that, 2 and 3, and you can tell by looking at the trailer for 3, like 2 and 3 really are just interconnected. Yes. Like a lot of these story elements and the characters that were introduced in part 2 very clearly those threads are picked up in part 3. And he said those two were sort of the same. And his idea for 4 and 5, whatever that is kind of a few years later. So it kind of feels like a different story. So if there was a point in time where he wanted to take that break and make what I would hope would be Terminator 3, his Terminator 3 or his next Terminator movie, that he could always come back. The man's going to make 4 and 5. Avatar, Fire and Ash, it's going to be the same as every other Avatar movie. It's going to come out. Everyone's going to agree that it looks amazing. There's going to be a big division on whether it is good or not.
Right.
And it's going to make $1 billion. And then he's going to be like, I'm going to make Terminator. I'm going to do this movie. I'm going to do this small film. And then I'm going to do 4 and 5.
Yeah, I think this is, listen, as you said, James does not have to lay the groundwork for anything. James do what the hell he wants. But I think this is also James. But you also have a fandom to these films, Michael. They don't make $2 billion without a massive fandom and fans wanting to see more. Now, I don't think the Avatar fandom is like the toxic fandoms of DC, Star Wars, Marvel, etc., what have you. They're much more like, well, just wow us and we're having a good time. But there is an expectation he's building now. If the third one comes out and is beloved as the second one and makes $2 billion, people will want to jump into the next chapter of the story. I think he's maybe letting us know that he's going to take a break between 3 and 4
Maybe.
because also those kid actors have to grow up a little bit too. Because I think this is the end of Jake and Neytiri's like being the main storyline. I think.
Right.
I think we're moving on to the kids, and if moving on to the kids, you want the actors to mature a little bit, to age a little. If you want to keep the same actors, you could always recast, I suppose. But I think this is maybe him saying a little bit like, you know what? And also, he talks about the production costs. I think that's a valid concern of how much everything costs nowadays. So he's in essence like kind of goading the fandom to show up to this one and make a lot of money so they can make 4 and 5.
Production costs are something you think about, but when the last 2 movies made $2 billion, you're kind of like, yeah, spend the money. I do think, look, I think you're right about, obviously there's a fandom, they've made so much money, but the Avatar fandom is interesting. I'm part of the Avatar fandom, but Avatar is one of those movies that everyone goes to see it because it's a spectacle, but it doesn't have you don't see people running around with Avatar t-shirts. You don't it doesn't have that sort of, I need to be a part of this universe, but I do think it's good. I think that in the most recent Fire and Ash trailer that came out, we saw that Spider, the human character, I don't know how, but somehow he can breathe on Pandora. And the whole idea of humans being able to breathe freely on Pandora is a threat to the Na'vi. We also know that Earth, in the world of, in the Avatar universe, humanity done fucked up Earth. Like it is, and we've never seen it, but we've just heard about it. I think 4 and 5, we might get to see like James Cameron's vision of what happened to Earth. And we might see what happened to Earth and the whole concept of the Na'vi and the humans actually having to work shit out and figure out how to make it all work together. Like that might be where he's going. And I think that's an interesting story. Like, so I would hope that we get to see it. But again, if we're betting on Avatar 3's box office dictating whether or not we get a 4 and 5, history would indicate we're getting a 4 and 5.
It is decidedly so. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Let's move on to this story. This is one I don't think I sent you, but what are your thoughts on this initially? Now, there's rumors that Jacob Elordi is being looked at to play a James Bond. I'm sure he's incredibly interested in the possibility, but I mean, we have Frankenstein about to come out. Certainly the last trailer was very Jacob Elordi heavy, as we heard him voicing over most of the trailer, and people have reacted to his performance in early reviews as one of the positive things about the movie, even if some of the reviews aren't that strong for the movie. His performance is the standout. So do you think this is a guy that can be looking at for James Bond? Do you like the idea of him being eyed for James Bond?
I mean, look, I would eye Jacob Elordi all day long. I'm not going to lie to you. The man, like I said, when we talked about that Frankenstein trailer, you can put that man under a bunch of dead monster makeup. And I'm still like, give me a couple of vodka sodas. We can talk. It's fine. He's actually a great choice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just, it's one of those things. I know they've said unknown. I know they've said they're going to pick somebody off the street and that's going to be the next James Bond. But if you are going to pick somebody who is at the right stage of their career, he's had some very big wins and a couple things he's done. Frankenstein, like you said, he's getting really good buzz. Even if you don't love the movie, you thought his performance was really good. But he hasn't had that level of stardom where he has inhabited a role that is so huge that you wouldn't be able to see him as James Bond. If he stepped into James Bond tomorrow and it was Jacob Elordi's James Bond and he was James Bond for the next decade of his career, like we'd all be like, yeah, he looks, he's very sexy. He's very suave. Like he's got the right vibe and attitude to fit what I think we think of as James Bond. So, and also like I said, like I would go see every single one of those movies just to stare at that man on screen. So I am 100% on board with this choice if it goes this way.
Yeah, I kind of like the choice. I like that he's building steadily right? I mean, this step by step, piece by piece. You've got the Netflix show Kissing Booth, Euphoria, Saltburn. These are little things he's doing to get you into who he is as an actor. I think he was Elvis in the Priscilla film as well. So you've got these things that he's done, and he's made his bones in more popular fare like Kissing Booth, but also a more interesting avant-garde fare like Saltburn, then interesting independent films like Priscilla, the show like Euphoria that really challenges you as well. So he's got a very strong resume that he's building, and now Frankenstein coming up very soon. So him sliding into Bond, I think, makes a lot of sense. As you said, he's at the right time in his career. He's known, but he's not that well known. And so it's like, this is the perfect opportunity. So in essence, he is kind of a new face for a lot of people. And I think it would get across the line. Now, the fact that he's not a Brit, is that going to be something they really hold on to? Australian, Brit. I mean, now we're splitting hairs in a way. I know there's two different countries and continents, but still, you know, we've seen that dude. Kate Blanchett.
He's got an accent. It's fine.
Kate Blanchett played Queen Elizabeth. I think it could work in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, I think, look, I would say if he were to be Bond, he would be the most attractive Bond since young Sean Connery.
Wow. You just kind
I said it
all over him. Wow.
I said what I said.
Daniel Craig.
I said what I said.
Perked up. All right. All right. Fair point. And shout out to Jordan Rumi over there at World of Real. This was his scoop there that he's putting out there. So we'll see. We'll see. One last, a couple more things here. Let's get into this story. What about this? This is apparently on tap. Jerry Bruckheimer, of course, is producer of the Pirates of the Caribbean. He has talked about all these possibilities with Johnny Depp possibly coming back, with Margot Robbie doing a spinoff here. But he was talking to The Wrap, and he said that, quote, for this new Pirates of the Caribbean film, we are, quote, working on a script. If we don't have it on the page, it's not going to get on the screen. Wow, I went to the James Gunn School of media there. We had two scripts at one point, and then one kind of dropped out, and we kind of went with the other one, he said. And he said that Margot Robbie is still involved. And when talking about Johnny Depp, he said the potential involvement revealed that Ted Elliott, who's written each of the movies, worked on it. We brought someone else in to fill in the blanks. But essentially, he's implying that he's going to maybe put in Johnny Depp and Margot Robbie into the same movie. A, do you think this is happening? And B, do you think this is a good idea for Margot Robbie at this stage of her career?
And I'm torn about it. Like I did a rewatch of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Oh. And as a Disney fan who loves the ride and who really likes the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, right, those movies really are the law of diminishing returns. Like they are, and I particularly think your enjoyment of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow is the law of diminishing returns. I think in the first movie, he is amazing. In the second and third movies, he is fun but annoying. And then you sort of just get to Jack Sparrow's annoying. Like, and I think partially that's how he's written. I think partially that is Johnny Depp just coasting, but I think a little bit of Jack Sparrow goes a long way. I don't know that I need to see a movie where Jack Sparrow is the center. I understand keeping Jack Sparrow as a part of the franchise. It's what most people know at this point in their lives of the Pirates of the Caribbean universe. I think, like, you know, I think reading between the lines and what I think really happened is there was a version that was a Jack Sparrow in the universe of Pirates of the Caribbean script. And then there was the, should we just dump everything and start from scratch? And that was that rumored female-driven, female pirates, Margot Robbie. We're doing a whole other thing. It's a whole reboot, right?
Right.
And I think they kind of went, we don't want to go completely in a new direction. We spent a lot of money to put those Jack Sparrow animatics in the rides. So we want to keep it the franchise, but we do like the new blood of it. And it feels like Margot Robbie's female pirate and let's keep Jack Sparrow and keep our universe kind of just got melded together into one script, which on the one hand could be a horrible Frankenstein where you took two ideas and slammed them together. But from a business standpoint, again, like when you have all of the, you have the Shanghai Disney ride is 100%. It's just like Curse of the Black Pearl, Davy Jones, Jack Sparrow's in all the rides. Like that is what the Pirates universe is now after 5 movies. And it's what people know. So doing something different, but keeping it in that universe. Like I would love to see Johnny Depp sort of take the Jeffrey Rush role. You know what I mean? I'd like to say him sort of, you're the older pirate. You've done your adventures. Margot Robbie's the younger pirate. Like, give us a new adventure, but again, give us just a little bit of Jack Sparrow, not too much, and let Margot Robbie run that train.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Bruckheimer didn't say specifically that Depp will be coming back, but I'm intimating that I agree with you. I think they had a Margot Robbie led all female pirate thing, and then they realized that wasn't going to get off the ground, and especially now, the timing would not be great for them to do that. So, and Margot Robbie hasn't exactly burned up the screen since Barbie with her releases, box office wise, because I think she's franchise dependent. It doesn't mean she's not a great actress or a damn good actress or people aren't still liking her movies. It's just to hit the box office gold. I think if you combine a brand with Margot Robbie, you can make money.
Yeah.
And so Pirates of the Caribbean with Margot Robbie in the lead, and Johnny Depp maybe has a scene, or as you said, he's like maybe 12 minutes of screen time where he's chasing them down. I think that's the smart route. And you can low-key launch a new, or what do you call it, reboot, soft reboot, Pirates that would work. Yeah.
Look, we live for better or for worse. And it won't be this way forever, but we live in the era of franchises, not actors or director. Like a director can open a movie. Like there's like Christopher Nolan, James Cameron, handful of others, Tarantino can open a movie. You will go see a movie because it is the Tarantino movie. It's the Christopher Nolan movie. We don't live in that movie star era anymore. Like when we were growing up, you went to go see the Tom Hanks movie. You went to go see the Julia Roberts movie. But we don't live. If Julia Roberts came out with a movie tomorrow, you don't go see it just because Julia Roberts is in it. Now, if Julia Roberts is playing so-and-so in the DC universe, yeah, like that's like, you're right. So I think Margot Robbie, I think Margot Robbie is a fantastic actress. And I think a lot of the things she's done since Barbie, she's been absolutely fantastic in, but it's not necessarily the things that people are rushing out to movie theaters to go see.
Yeah. Yeah. And this way kind of two birds with one stone for sure. All right, well, let's move on to this thing before we get into our Peacemaker review. You know, a lot of people, a lot of our fans, Michael, have been clamoring for us to talk about Marvel Zombies, the 4-episode series from showrunner Brian Andrews and writer Zeb Wells was released 4 episodes. I know, Michael, you kind of talked down the fact that it was 4 episodes, but they came out here, and I have to say right off the bat, I really enjoyed it. I thought the way they went about doing things was a lot of fun. I thought some of the anime-inspired action was really fun to see as well. And it led to a pretty climactic 4th episode where one of my favorite Marvel characters, the Hulk, was really center stage for it. And I thought the fact that we had people die, some of the heroes die, I thought was really moving. And also seeing what Scarlet Witch and the full power of her. So what did you think of these 4 episodes? What are your feelings on it? Did you enjoy it on yourself?
I found these 4 episodes to be fine. Like yeah, they were fine. Okay. We can dive into more of why I thought it was fine, but I thought that, you know, I like the animation style of What If. This is a continuation of that. So I thought the animation was all nice. I love hearing the voices. You know, I love hearing the people that are reprising their roles from the live action and animation.
Right.
And it was a nice continuation of that Marvel Zombies What If episode from season 1. I think that two things. One, it really highlighted the lack of connection that we have with the majority of the characters in phases 4 and 5. It really highlighted I like Shang-Chi. I've seen him in 1 movie. Right. Like, I like Miss Marvel. You know, like I really like Yelena Belova. Like, I like these characters a lot, but we don't have the connection to them that we have to Scarlet Witch or Thor or the Hulk or Cap or Tony. Like, and it's not because they're not good characters, but we haven't spent phases 4 and 5 doing this. Like what Marvel Zombies gave us, this giant interconnected universe where Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel and Riri Williams are best friends. That's cool. And if we had had more of that in phases 4 and 5 and the interconnections, and that actually meant something, but this was just kind of like, all right, it's nice. And then I think beyond that, just from a story standpoint, it was sort of like a fun romp each week to see which character is going to come in, who's going to die, who's going to live, where are we going to go, how are we going to bring in all of these different characters. And there was some fun to that, and that's enjoyable. Like, that is what Marvel does well. But by the end of it, I kind of left it, and maybe they're saving stuff for the continuation, but I was like, well, why was Miss Marvel special for Wanda? Like, the Scarlet Witch really needed Wanda because... the Scarlet Witch really needed Miss Marvel because why? Like, Miss Marvel's having dreams. Like, that's not her power. Like, what? Right. What? They never sort of... Miss Marvel was clearly really important, was having these dreams, and the Scarlet Witch wanted her. And then in episode 3, she's like, I need you to do this thing. And at the end, they touch it. But I'm like, what about Kamala Khan? And I was waiting for them to answer that. Like, it's your bangle. It's your this. It's your that. Like, it was something. But I didn't really understand why she was the thing that Wanda needed. And so that kind of that starts to unravel all of it. You're like, so, okay, what's happening? Like, I liked the idea that Wanda needed the power of the Infinity Gauntlet to do whatever it is she wanted to do. But like, we already know, I don't know. I kind of felt like the end of it, there was a lot of really big stuff, but I was kind of left going, okay, it all sounds really good. And in the moment, you're like, yeah, okay. But then you get to the end and you're like, what happened? What was that?
I will say this. And of course, Michael, I'm not telling you anything new. You know this, having worked in animation for years. You start working on a project and it's 4 years later, right? And so what you were doing 4 years ago, what the intention of the franchise was 4 years ago is not what the intention of the franchise is now. And I think when they started making this thing, they really it was a Multiverse of Madness right around that time. They wanted to focus on highlighting the supreme power of the Scarlet Witch, because I think they have planned or had plans and still have plans to show the ferocity of her power and how insane and overwhelming it can be. And I think they thought they had a real gem in Ms. Marvel and thought people were going to really love that series. It didn't 100% work out that way. People do like Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, and so they made her the focus, right? And Riri was still coming on, so it was okay to kind of lose her in the process, and what have you. And then having the Yelena Belova thing, I think they were also knew that New Avengers was coming, so so it's all these things they were laying the groundwork for, because that's how a franchise works. You all know this. And so they wanted to highlight the characters they thought were going to be the stars of their future projects live action and give them a little more foundation for the audience. But I hear you. Well, the dream thing was a little weird for me too. I was like, but you know what? I'm enjoying it, so I'm going to ignore that a little bit. But go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
But I mean, I love the fact that Kamala Khan was somehow important to Scarlet Witch. Like, I love the idea of it. I just was like, we got to the end and there was no there. It was like, it could have, Wanda was like, I need to touch your hand. She could have told Death Dealer that she needed to touch his hand for all that. Like, there was no difference for what Kamala Khan brought to that. But I think you make a good point. Like, this is an interesting snapshot because of how long animation takes. Right. That when you look at it, I mean, the fact that like in the first episode, you have this extended thing where Captain Marvel is fighting Icarus from the Eternals.
Right. Yes.
And you're like, cool. We're never seeing him again. So you are right. There is sort of like a level of, this is a snapshot of where we were a few years ago when we were all really excited and Marvel was really excited about where we were going. And had you had a Shang-Chi 2 come out, had some of these characters really taken off, had we been really, and had the Marvels been an amazing movie and we were like, oh my God, yes, Captain Marvel and Kamala Khan, like maybe this would have hit different for me. But as it is, like, look, like as we talked about with the trailers, and I always tease you about it, I love violence. I love violence in animation. I love it because I feel like you get to raise the stakes. I did feel like this kind of turned into a little bit of violence for violence sake. Like, you know, when Death Dealer dies, like there was a thing that happened where a lot of these characters were dying and you'd see like body parts rip apart and they'd get cut in half. And I was like, that looks cool. Do I really care? And like, for me, and I get it. It's a zombie movie. And with a zombie movie, it's like, it's kind of more fun to be like, let's watch everybody die. But at a certain point, it's like, I think what worked really well with the first Marvel Zombies What If is they really got you to the point in just a 22-minute episode where as people were dying, you were like, oh, fuck. man. And with these characters, I was kind of like, okay, y'all good. Like, it's like, let's see who dies next. Cool. Let's go. Like, even like, I think maybe the one I liked the most, although I was again, I get really nitpicky with story stuff, was when Red Guardian turned zombie. But also, I get that Red Guardian is a dummy, but dude, homeboy knew he ate zombie. Why he wasn't like, leave me behind, I'm about to turn into a zombie, and then they have the tearful thing. Like, I'm like, he was like, he knew what was going down. But I thought like that moment with him and Kamala Khan was a good moment. I liked that.
Yeah. And Yelena reacting to it, I thought was really touching as well.
But, I thought like the Yelena kind of getting them out of the what the fuck do you call that prison?
Yeah.
What's the raft? What's the prison?
Yeah.
The raft. Yeah. Getting, her getting them out of there was cool. I thought like Namor, and all of like them being all zombies and them sort of attacking the raft. I was like, that's a cool idea. Like there was definitely a lot of really cool and fun ideas, and just watching each week or each episode to go, okay, who's in next? What's the big next set piece? But yeah, it just kind of left me wanting. Like emotionally, I was not invested at all. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I had zero emotional investment. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Fair point. And then Shang-Chi, Katie, and Jimmy Woo, I mean, clearly they felt that Shang-Chi was going to be, maybe have a sequel by now. And so they highlighted them as well. But the big one also is Blade, man. I mean, I 100% believe they thought they were going to have a Blade movie out by now. And combining him with the Moon Knight stuff, I thought was kind of really smart. It made me want to see a live action version of that, Khonshu and Blade. That would have been cool. But like, again, you watch this and you go, motherfucker, why can't you guys figure this shit out? Because it looks so awesome when you play with him. He's such a great character to play with. Figure this stuff out and put it on screen already, man.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think I might have emotionally blocked it out. You're right. I didn't even think about it. But seeing Mahershala Ali play Blade and mashing it up with Moon Knight, which has its moments, but I think all in all did not really connect with the Marvel fans the way they were hoping it would. So you sort of take the thing that didn't really ultimately work in the TV side of things and your character that you still have yet to be able to figure out and get off the ground, kind of seeing it in the thing, you're like, it almost was a little bit like, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean. I think that Marvel Zombies and it's, to your point, it's animation. There's nothing else you can do about it. It is what it is. But it kind of came across as the Marvel universe that could have been, but since it's not, it's kind of like annoying.
Yes.
Exactly. like I've talked to a lot of people, to your point, what most people like the most about it is Wanda.
Yes. Oh,
most people are like Wanda and this whole idea that she sort of regained her understanding of her powers and was able to warp reality so that she could appear a certain way, and she wants to change reality. And then did she really change reality, or what did she do at the end? Like, everyone's into that, but Wanda, they killed her.
Yeah.
Whether she's coming back at some point in some way for Secret Wars or whatever, again, Wanda's the thing that most of us, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show, that the best thing, one of the best things that the MCU has going for it is Wanda. And thanks to Multiverse of Madness, they don't have Wanda.
That's true.
Just like in the comics, you have Scarlet Witch go through some shit and everybody is on board.
Yeah.
So you do Marvel Zombies and the leader of your zombie army is Wanda. Yeah, that's always going to be cool. Right. What exactly Wanda really wanted, I'm still unclear on, but
control of the world. Yeah.
Control of the world, but and again, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit on the ending in that I know that they have more stories they want to tell, and based on how Marvel Zombies is done, I'm sure we're going to get another 4 episodes, or they had already ordered 8 episodes and are already working on the next 4 and just haven't told anybody yet. That's always a possibility as well. But when we got to the end and it was okay, so first it seemed like, oh, Wanda really did do her thing and used her powers to set everything right, and that's great. And then you sort of got the glitches at the end and the unsettling ending as, oh, is this all real, or is Wanda just fucking with Miss Marvel's mind? But then in the quote unquote real world that we saw, human Riri was running around.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, wait, Riri's dead. So what really did Wanda, like, I'm like, it raised more questions, but I will give them credit that those are questions they can answer. But yeah, just the whole ending kind of left me going, okay.
Well, I hear you. I found it entertaining and really enjoyed the animation. And maybe I wasn't looking for too much from it. And the snapshot made me judge it less harshly because I was like, this is stuff that they were thinking they were going to do, and they didn't get a chance to do it. So I'll just enjoy it as a real what if exploration of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, look, I don't want to I know when we get lately in the past few weeks, whenever we talk about Marvel, I'm the grumpy one and Shannon yells at me. It's like it was a perfectly enjoyable thing, and I understand why people who really liked it. It just definitely left me I was examining my own reaction to it. Like there was a time when What If season 1 and season 2 came out, like every single episode, seeing my favorite characters interact with each other in some totally different environment, I was like, this is great. Oh my God, this is fun. And watching this, I kind of sat there and I was like, cool. People were dying left and right. And I'm like, all right, yeah, they're done. Okay, that one's gone. Who's next? Let's see.
But I think going back to what you said at the beginning is the truth. Like for you, they haven't done it. I think for a lot of people, for me too, they haven't done enough to get people to care about these characters in the new phases, so that when you see them in this show, you don't carry the same weight as you would with other. So it allows you to maybe have a reaction like that. You're like, okay, let's see what happens here, blah, blah, blah. But if it had been the season 1, season 2 kind of approach to it with different characters who were leading this thing, it might have been much more exciting and interesting and fun. So we'll see. Well, we'll see if they'll do 4 more episodes down the road. We'll see on Marvel's.
I think we will. I have a feeling. If you did like it, I would say that based on the reaction and based how it's done on Disney Plus, I have a feeling that we will get more Marvel Zombies. So if you did enjoy it, fuck my drag. You're going to get more, and I hope you enjoy those too.
That should be the 2 new t-shirt. Fuck my drag.
Fuck my drag.
Well, speaking of things that are coming back, that's next week. Peacemaker's got a finale. But before we get to that finale, we got to talk about episode 7 that happened here as we're recording this last night. This one is called like a Keith in the Night, and it focuses on Peacemaker and his crew of people there in basically planet Earth X, who deal with the ramifications of them going over there. Harcourt explains to Peacemaker and shows him that you missed the Hitler mural, you missed the Mein Kampf on every desk. This is basically the Nazis winning the war. Keith is tracking them down and angry. He wants to kill Chris for having killed his own brother in Earth X. We get some interesting things with Augie and a real interesting twist by the end of the episode. Meanwhile, Rick Flag is trying to track down where this portal is happening there in Washington, and Luther gets him to get Saperson out of prison to help him out doing that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Economos is tied up by Augie and is playing all sides to get out of the situation. But we also have a judo master who apparently escaped, kills a few racists in a pool, and Vigilante is a part of the crew as well. They all eventually get on out of there, but not before Augie is brutally killed by Vigilante. And Keith almost dies in Chris's arms, but Chris also realizes, or so he says to himself, that he is, or says to everybody out loud, that he is the reason why all of this stuff is happening. It featured to me, Michael, one of the greatest acting moments from Cena when he reacts to Keith dying and they're trying to kill him, and he just unleashes a no from deep within the pit of his soul. Amazing stuff. What do you think of this episode before we dive into these storylines?
You know, I really liked this episode. I felt like the moments that I liked, I really, really liked a lot. And I wish there was just a little bit more meat on the bone. I wanted I agree with you 100% about John Cena's guttural PTSD. I'm reliving the biggest trauma of my life all over again moment. I was like, props to him. And the twists that were in here were really good. All the character moments were really good. So as we go through it, I will tell you all the things that I loved. But by the end of the episode, I kind of feel like a lot of Peacemaker season 2 has this. And now that we're at that penultimate episode, I kind of leave going, yes, and I like everything you gave me, but I wanted more. When I leave an episode, I want to feel like, man, there was so much to chew. Oh my God, where are we going to go next? But this was last week they were all stuck in Earth X, and we found out it was Earth X. And this week they got together and left Earth X. Like that was what happened, and it was pretty straightforward. And we got some really great character moments with everybody across the board.
Right.
But yeah, you wanted like where that it's the penultimate. Like think about the penultimate episode of a Game of Thrones or a House of the Dragon.
Right.
Where like the shit hits the fan. Now I've heard that next week's episode is extra long and that shit does indeed hit the fan. So we'll see. So yeah, I liked it all, but I think with Peacemaker season 2, it's like, it's an interesting thing because as a character journey for Chris, I think it's just A+. Yeah. I think they've taken this character that I didn't give a shit about and have made me care very deeply about him and his trauma. And I love the entire ensemble cast, and I love when you mix and match them. So like Adebayo and Judo Master playing Scrabble, great, loved it. Yeah. But at the end of the episode, at the end of the day, I just feel like the episodes leave me wanting. Like I want more out of them.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting point you make there, because there's a way to leave them wanting more in a positive way, and there's a way to leave them wanting more that's not necessarily in a positive way. And I don't disagree with you, to be honest with you. I like this episode. I thought there was some really good moments, as you said, but I also felt that this did the exact same thing that Marvel did. Let's introduce something really insane, like an Earth X, where the Nazis are the victors and it's a white supremacist effing world, but let's get out of it in 35 minutes. And so to me, that's where, now maybe the next episode is going to flesh that out even more. We're really going to confront some stuff. But I thought it was a bit of a cop-out to have them escape that quickly, especially because I don't know how you use a line like one of them got out and not go see where they got out from. And even Judo Master said that they're being kept in camps or something. So like if you're going to do commentary like James Gunn did with the idea of Adebayo saying like, everyone thinks this Nazi world is different from our world. It's not as different as you might think. Or Vigilante reacting to her saying Jesus Christ, saying, oh, they love him here, which is his shots across the bow here. Very clear his commentary on what he's saying about what's going on in our world right now. How do you not go to the camps? Like, to me, that's the thing. And so there are little ways that it copped out to a degree, but I liked the journey because this season is clearly focused on Chris. Everyone else is and a little bit hardcore, right? Everyone else is kind of in the periphery of Chris's story. And so in that way, I think the episode accomplished a lot last night, getting him to that moment where we were cheering for him. And then by the end, we're like, oh no, what's he going to do with this information? Which you want to have as an audience going into the finale, you know?
I mean, I hear what you're saying. And I do think the Earth X idea is so interesting that you're like, let's do more with it. At the same time, what do you like? You're going to show me a camp full of people of color, like working in camps and being enslaved. And then I'm going to leave. Like they're not going to solve Earth X's problems. Like the Nazis won. Like even in a 50-minute episode, the 5 of them aren't going to solve Nazi.
Right.
So, you know, you want to see more, but the problem is if you show more, why, like, so you're going to show me you're going to show me people of color in the worst possible situation they could be in, and then be like, cool, we got to get out of here. Rick Flag is going to get the codes.
No, but they could kill some of the command. Oh, look, they shot police officers all over this episode. They electrocuted home-owning white people in a pool. You know, like you're not going that much farther to go to the camps. Maybe they liberate one of the camps, kind of like, well, you haven't seen it yet, but a certain movie that you haven't seen yet, they liberate one of the camps, and that's a way to...
Thanks.
It's the opening of it.
It's the Smurfs movie, isn't it? You're talking about the Smurfs movie.
Let my Smurf people go. But you can, they start the resistance, or they help the Sons of Liberty, like in a way, like they do something. So you could have done it. You could have done it.
You could have, but I do think you get into dicey territory because you start to show things on screen that are really uncomfortable for a lot of people, and unless you're doing it like I think what they did, and again, I'm not saying they couldn't have done more, but I understand the fine line of it. Like, to your point, the end of last week's episode, one of them got out in one line. You said so much, and it was super affecting. Like, it was like, oh fuck. I do think that you are like, I don't know that I agree with your solution per se, because I think you do get in dangerous territory, but I do think what you are hitting on is the same thing I'm saying, which is it did feel like I wanted a little bit more in the world somehow. Like there's something that I do feel was missing in this part of the adventure that was, you know, it's not GI Robot from Creature Commandos getting unleashed, but like it's something like you're like, what do I want here?
Well, let's talk about that. Do you think the Chris turn was too quick? Like as soon as Harcourt showed him the mural and the Mein Kampf, he's like, all right, and Earth X Amelia, peace out, girl, we rolling. And so do you think that was a little too quick, or was it because last episode she essentially intimated that she does have feelings for him, but she's too fucked up to act on them, that's enough for him to get him the hell out of here? And
you bring up a good point in that, you know, in the moment, and this gets into that balance of the James Gunn, the thing that James Gunn is always balancing is his heartfelt, really emotional moments with his comedic moments. So the comedic moment is, hey, you didn't notice Mein Kampf? Well, I don't read books. You didn't notice the Hitler mural? Oh yeah, that I should have seen. That's a big one.
Right.
That's a really funny moment. But then going right away to, hey, Amelia from Earth X, I think we should break up because I'm about to do something crazy. And then getting out of there, you're basically going, oh, this whole storyline of you dating the Amelia that is not your Amelia that you thought you wanted. We're just dumping that because we got to get out of here and we got to get back to our Earth for the finale. And there is like that moment of like, oh, you were this sweeter, like my Amelia is crazy and calls me a fucking asshole every 5 minutes and says she doesn't want to sleep with me. You want to be with me. Also, you're a Nazi.
Right.
And I did not see that coming. But, you know, like, I mean, I think you're right. Like, I think there's a moment with that. Or how does the other Rick Flag, how does Rick Flag Jr. tie into this? You're like, there's other pieces there's threads that were hanging around there that I don't know what the solution is. Right. But I think a lot of people listening right now, if you're listening to this and you go, oh yeah, like it was like, I kind of was like, this was all good. I liked it. Yeah. But they got out of there, and next week we're gonna dive into everything dealing with the portal and what Argus wants to do with it, and how that's going to tee us up for whatever's going to happen in Man of Tomorrow. Right. And it feels like we sort of like have closed the book on Earth X, aside from the fact that Keith will absolutely show up at some point in Peacemaker season 3 or somewhere to hunt down Chris. But yeah, I think that you're right. There's something, whether it's the Amelia or something else, that you're like, they wanted a little bit more here.
It just turned too fast, right? But I did like what David Denman did with S. Keith. I mean, I like that he was this through line of like, Dad, why are you excusing him? Why are you not going forward with this? What is the issue here? So what do you think about this, Michael? What do you think about Augie? First of all, Keith and Augie killing the police officers. Augie saying the police officers are pretty corrupt in this. But then in the end, he says he's actually not a white supremacist. He doesn't believe in the Nazi ideology, and that he fights the bad guys where he can and he fights back when he can and where he can. So are we led to believe now that Chris was actually the raging racist of the three of them? And that was when he says to Keith, well, you know, your brother, he had a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Do you think that Keith was kind of in the middle between the two of them, and it actually was Chris? Because we were thinking the whole time that Augie was the racist, possibly, and that Chris was like taking pills to deal with the racism. But he actually—
Well, you were thinking that. I told you I didn't think so. But just so we're clear.
Fair point. But what do you think of the twist of Augie not being necessarily a racist, and him saying that Chris's actual father was the dark one of the two, which is kind of ironic? What do you think what do you think that was a commentary on?
I don't know what it was a commentary on, but I think it's really good in the continued evolution of Chris as a character. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about the commentary of it all in a minute. But what I think is great about it is, if Augie in Earth X was just the same as Chris's dad, was like, I was a racist, but I get to be the hero because racists won, so now I'm the winner.
Right.
And then he dies. You're like, all right, well, you had to watch your dad die again, but this is well-trod territory.
Right.
Finding out in those last minutes that, like, oh, when he was like, oh yeah, that Augie, that guy, like the version of me from that other world, he wasn't right. He was fucked up. Yeah. I don't agree with any of this. I'm not doing anything to stop it, but I'm going to fight these other things because I can't change the entire world. So I'm going to focus on this. And then immediately have Vigilante jump through the window and just brutally murder him. Even I was like, no, he just was saying, don't, like, maybe put him in jail or something, but like, no. And so I think what that does is this death is now fucked up for Chris in a different way than him killing his own dad.
Right.
Because his dad was an asshole. You're fucked up about it, but he's an asshole. Now you found out this guy's not an asshole. So it's like, it's made this different in a different fucked up way for Chris. And then at the same time with Keith, it's also like the fact that Keith is just like, fuck you. Like, I don't care. You killed my brother. So I've been living my whole life with the guilt of the fact that my brother died and my dad blamed me for it. And now I've got my brother, but the brother I have hates me. And then I almost saw him die and said, don't know. I had a whole freak out about it. But now I've got a brother from another universe that hates me so much, he's going to probably like span the multiverse trying to kill me. Like that it makes all of it interesting in Chris's emotional journey.
I think so
what it says about him being a non-racist or a complicit person in a racist world. Like, I don't know. What do you think it means?
I think it's a great point to bring up because, you know, I sometimes am guilty of this. I look at someone and go, why didn't you do this? And it's like, well, in reality, some people can only fight the fight that's in front of them because that's the way of making a small difference in the world. Not everyone can change, as you said. Not everyone is that one person that can change the world. Some people, it's just they have the bandwidth to just be able to change what they can change within a fucked up system. You could argue that's what goes on in so the history of time in our world in different countries, people doing little things to try to fight back against an authoritarian system or a racist system or a system they believe is wrong, right? Whatever your political belief.
I mean,
I'd like it left.
You could argue that James Gunn is, and I don't know that he is doing this, but James Gunn is making a commentary on the superhero genre in general. Like, part of the issue with the superhero genre is that when we have, you have a big worldwide event in DC Comics or Marvel Comics, like with the amount of superpowered individuals in the Marvel or DC universe, and what Poison Ivy can do and what Mr. Freeze can do and what all these characters, they should be able to solve global warming, world hunger, like any group of superheroes should be able to solve all problems and create either an authoritarian world where superheroes rule us or a utopia where they've solved everything. But the problem is, as soon as you let superheroes get close to that, the world of the comic book ceases to resemble our world. So you always have to back it up. Superheroes are always contained by their world needs to reflect our world, so they can never change too much.
Right.
And so what Augie is doing in that world is, I'm going to go fight the giant kaiju. I'm going to go fight the Ultra Humanite, but I can't solve a world that is racist. So I'm going to do this. And you're like, okay, like I get what that is.
That's what I think it leaves the viewer with a lot to chew on, which I think is great. I love shows like that give, like, you walk away from going, how do I feel about this? And I love that it was because I started to think that maybe this was the Augie from the other world and he had kind of changed over the years and it was the racist Augie who was actually Chris's dad. Like, they had made a switch years and years ago. So Chris killed the fake Augie that wasn't, and this is his actual father, but then Vigilante climbed through the window and killed him. So I was like, oh shit. So we have to deal with what we've been handed. The key thing is interesting, Michael, because yes, they left him alive for a reason, but also the fact that Harcourt was going to legitimately put a bullet in his brain and then was stopped by other stuff going on. That is going to be interesting going into the finale. If he does cross back over through a portal to go after Chris, is he going to go after Harcourt? Are we going to see her die? This is fascinating. Will James Gunn kill off his own wife in his own show? I don't know, but I think it's interesting to put her in peril. And I don't think it's an accident to show her being the one who was going to kill him straight up. It's an interesting
It'll be interesting to see. If I were going to guess, and I will be perfectly happy to be wrong next week about this, I don't think Keith shows up in the finale.
You don't? Oh, okay.
I think Keith and his whole, I'm going to kill you because you killed my brother. I'm going to find you. I'm going to hunt the multiverse until I find you. I think that is a thread that is left dangling for season 3 or some other event in the DC universe. I think that next week is going to really focus on Argus wanting to do something with the quantum portal and unleashing all manner of hell and whatever. Now, look, they're going to be using that quantum tunnel. So if that door opens and Keith comes raging through there and tries to kill Chris and Harcourt, and that's part of the finale, that totally makes sense. But my gut is that's something we're like saving. Like it's like good comic book writing. You've left this thing. And then, you know, a year from now, he shows up because he's been looking this whole time. And he's like, I finally found you. I've gone into so many universes. I've killed so many fucking Chris's, but you're the one that I've been looking for. Like, you know, that's a good long lead arc you could build to.
I just feel like the fact that you had this moment with them and she puts her head on his back. It's essentially, she's like accepting her feelings for it. Right. And that's in TV writing, that's usually when you kill off the character as soon, or put them through some peril as soon as they start to kind of come close to the thing they want, you know?
It's interesting. You could go either way. Like because Harcourt did pull that gun on Keith, which by the way, she is correct. Like you take that threat out before that threat comes back to get you. I'm 100% with Harcourt on that decision. Okay. But it could work either way. Like if Keith shows up and he kills Harcourt because she was finally starting to accept Chris, and that's tragic for Chris, great. If Keith shows up and says something about she was about to kill me, and then Chris has to deal with the fact that Harcourt was going to do to the one person that he cares about the same thing he did to the one person that Harcourt cared about, that actually drives them apart. And so now that Harcourt has accepted him, he now can't accept her, is also equally as compelling.
I like that. That actually makes a lot of sense. It's a great twist, and you keep Jennifer cool. I think Jennifer's been amazing this season. I would hate to see her get killed off. And so you keep you keep that relationship still going, but you fracture it, as all great will they or won't they shows do. You always bring something in that keeps them getting together. Before we wrap up, let's talk about this stuff, man. What'd you think of the situation with Judo Man and Adebayo and discussions? Judo Man giving her some advice about her wife and about her career and about her life, and then her pushing back and trying to change his opinions about Chris. And by the end, Judo Man does side with Rick Flag there, but you know he's doing it to kind of save the rest of the crew and let Chris take the fall for everything.
Well, he's doing it because that's the side that he's on. Those are his bosses. But yes, he does help them out a bit.
He could have called out. He could have said it's lying, and he did.
I think Master is just the most adorable little sociopath. I love him and his love of snacks, and he does such a great job. He's an amazing character, and I'm glad he got to do more than just kick and punch people and talk a bunch of shit. Like it was nice to see him have like a softer, quieter moment. And I thought they handled it all really well. Like I thought him showing up to save her totally made sense. The two people of color, he's like, he gets it. Like if anyone is going to say and be like, look, I've been here for a few days and it's fucked up. And I thought they handled it well. Like I'm glad they killed all those Nazis in the pool.
Yeah.
You know, again, to your point about showing camps, it's an interesting moment because we're watching a bunch of civilians. Like these are just suburban
homeowners,
homeowners just living their lives, and they all go in a pool and he kills all of them. But then you see the croc with the swastika on it and you're like, oh, right. They're still Nazis. Like it's cool. But it was still like, it was an interesting moment. But yeah, I loved the whole scene with them in the house. It was like, even though, it's an episode where I'm craving more sort of big commentary about stuff. Yeah. The two of them are such good performers, and watching them play a board game while they are discussing Chris and his personality and his love of music. And when he said to her, when she was talking about her relationship with her wife, and she was like, she's not supporting my dream. And he's like, yeah, but you're not supporting her dream. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
that's it right there. You nailed it. It was just a really, really lovely scene. And I know I saw you tweet about it, but yeah, the moment when they're talking about how fucked up the world is, and then they're like, it's not, maybe it's not quite as different as our world as we would like it to be.
Right.
I thought that was really a compelling line. And even though this is a different scene, it was when Augie said to Harcourt, he was like, look, I'm glad in your world that you probably have like solved every problem and everything is perfect. but we do what we can in this world. And you're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, this world, we got a lot of problems right now.
Well,
and so to your point, I think when they hit the commentary, they hit it well.
Yes, I agree. I agree 100%. I think having your black character say that, I think it is on purpose and poignant. So that if you have a remotely open mind, you sit with that and think about what it must be like from the black point of view to live in our world. And then on the other side, having Augie say that is James, although I'm going to go after some of these people who've gone ultra crazy with their right-wing ideology, I'm also going to ding the liberals a little bit who think, like you can solve every problem and you should be solving all the problems, when in fact, a lot of you don't do that. You just want to bitch about it on social media without actually doing anything to solve the problems. And so I like that he fairly dinged where he was supposed to ding. And Jennifer's reaction was really great too. She was kind of like humbled by what Augie said and couldn't retort, so I appreciated that all around. Yeah. And I like Judo Master, and I said Judo Master. I liked him getting more screen time because I like him as an actor. I like him as an energy. And I look forward to him joining the Peacemaker crew down the road because he'll have some nice back and forths with everybody, because clearly he's remembered every slight or injury any of them have ever done to him.
I love that he brings up, hey, remember that time that you tased me like 1,000 times? And she's like, yeah, that was my bad.
Oh, I was rolling on that. So, all right. Any final words on this episode as we wrap up our spoiler review, Michael? Anything you want to say? Are we leading to Brainiac in this thing by the time, because of what Saperson said here, like the portal itself is much more stable than any of Luthor tech. So is that a little hint of Man of Tomorrow, that little seed being planted there? What are your thoughts?
Well, whatever James Gunn is planning with this portal tech is 100% where we're going with Man of Tomorrow. Like whatever, I don't, whether that means we're headed to Brainiac or not, we'll see. But I think the concept of what Lex Luthor did in Superman was very unstable. Like Mr. Terrific was very clear. This is why you don't build a pocket dimension. It's super unstable and can cause a rift. And by the end of the movie, we had a big fucking rift. Yeah. So Saperstein, who I'm very sad that Shannon isn't here to talk about his favorite character from the Superman movie. But when Sal says, oh, this isn't, ours had a wobble and was unstable. This is a stable pocket dimension. And we know it's stable because Chris's dad has been using it for decades. So now Argus has technology that is a stable quantum tunnel that gives them access to the multiverse. Yeah. And the potential of whatever that does. Like, we've talked about, is it a boom tube? Does this lead to Darkseid? But does this lead to Brainiac? Does this unleash something from another dimension? Like whatever it is, we're going to end up in a situation where inevitably, because we've already seen it, like Superman and Lex Luthor are going to have to team up to deal with it. And so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And it's exciting, but I also, and I'm sure they will, because he does focus so much on Chris, like I'll be interested to see how this whole ending goes next week. And does this feel satisfying, or does it feel like just a launch point into Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah, good point. Does this whole season feel like it was just leading us to Man of Tomorrow rather than being its own thing? It's an excellent point you bring up, Michael. We will see. And I didn't hear that it was an extra long episode, so that makes me excited, because I do think the show has been suffering over the last few weeks from the smaller run times. I think this is one of those situations where we want more. So
I think with any of these, I mean, look, 40 to 60 minutes for genre shows, like, Alien Earth was that, when you get Penguin length, you're right. When we get to these episodes that are 33 minutes, or, with Star Wars, you get when you take out the credits, it was a 20-minute episode, and you're like, come on, like it's not enough. So really giving you more meat is good.
Agreed. All right, well, there you go. That's our spoiler review for episode 7, like a Keith in the night for season 2 of Peacemaker. And thank you so much. That's our show. Thank you so much for watching or listening to us. Michael, do you know what we have to tell them?
I do know. If you want to follow us, you can do so on Twitter at @geek_buddies, on Instagram at @the_geek_buddies. If you would like, @the_geek_buddies. Yeah, I did say that right. If you would like to follow Mr. Rocha, you can do so at The Rocha Says. If you would like to follow me, you can do so at MKToon. And after you do that following, we would appreciate it if you smash that like button below. Subscribe to Johnny's John Rocha page. Check out all the amazing content he has got there. Leave your comments below. What do you think of everything we talked about today? Did you love Marvel Zombies? Did it leave you going, meh? like, let us know, what did you think of Peacemaker? Let us know all the things in the comments below. After you do that, go ahead and leave us some stars and comments on the podcast feed so that we go up in the rankings and more people can find us. And as always, the best thing you can do is retweet this video, post it on your socials, send it to your friends, and tell them to hang out with your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
There you go. And of course, we give a shout out to our missing buddy here, China McClung. He will be back next week as we do more shows here on the show. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a good weekend. Go see a movie. Go see Smashing Machine. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the
Geek
Buddies.